What's gay?
What's gay?
What's gay?
I'm not gay, Kathleen. It's been a while since I've even seen this room. I'm a little bit out of...
If I recall, we were doing
that kept happening last time.
If I recall, we were doing some
back.
death-defying parkour.
Quite literally, actually. We technically got further than this, but I guess we didn't find a convenient enough save spot, so that's kind of sucky, but I don't think we made...
very sucky.
I don't think we made much progress anyways. Well, that's the one thing we need, is if we get the two mics set up, then these can both be real close, and this can actually be on again.
Because it's difficult to...
Because it's a little bit hard to... We have to have the TV so quiet that we basically can't hear it. Because this mic is weirdly sensitive for how cheap it is.
I actually, though, I was watching a video on a guy that does video or music producing, and he said basically the challenge was if you have a novice music producer with the best equipment ever.
I've seen that just in a lot of contexts. It's a fun idea.
And basically what they found is the expert actually did a better job, of course, because they tend to know the tools
you can do more
function
with less.
better. And so the thing that he chose, though, is this exact mic, this
are you
Tonar,
sure? Or
yeah.
is it just the same brand?
No. It's the exact mic. I looked up the model.
Well, because he
said this one particularly is fantastic for the money.
Well, it's $30 on Amazon. That's hard to beat. But it's not even that we would need new mics. It's just if we had two, we could have them closer to our faces and then turn the sensitivity down so then the TV could be louder and whatnot. But that's not relevant to anybody. I had a strategy that I learned from the editing of last time.
Okay.
I'm going to attempt to blast those guys with the blinding grenade, because I can take this guy out with a punch, despite the fact that he can take like 12 exploding bullets to the face. So I have to distract them. No. I hope it's going to happen while I'm punching this guy and I'm not just about to be blinded. Turn away, Jensen! Turn away!
It's the
it worked!
It's the sonar problem!
Oh, okay. I thought that actually killed them. Not enough energy! I forgot! I'm sorry! I feel like this is overkill. They're not even armored. What? Well, okay.
Apparently not.
I didn't think they were armored, but that guy survived getting shot explosives pulled point blank. All right. Didn't go well. I think we should do what I said last week, which is I'll just read off one of your topics and attempt to give it as if it were my own, based purely on your description.
Well, okay.
Just because I thought that was a humorous idea.
It's
a bit of speech training on the fly.
It's pseudo AI.
Tonight, I'd like to talk to you all about
Jesus. I'm just playing.
Problem is, I forget which ones of these are mine and which ones are not.
That is actually the problem for me too, because there's certain ones similar in there that I'm like, that may have.
I'll
been
disagree
mine.
with you straight off the bat. Session musicians probably their whole job is to not be famous for what they do.
What's the actual?
This is my topic, not yours.
But I'm saying, did I say that they should be? I don't know that my sentiment was.
You said session musicians and why they should be more famous. You'd make a great BuzzFeed article writer.
I feel like maybe not famous isn't the right word.
Because
why they should be more well known? Because to me,
well, but only to you as a musician, though. And here's the thing: session musicians are often well known only to other musicians
that actually appreciate.
Like you would actually appreciate Billy Joel's biography.
Oh,
I mean, for multiple reasons, but
yeah.
Like they talk in that where it's like, okay, he because he was a solo musician and so the band was because his backing band.
What did I do?
You walked backwards off of the ladder.
Bizarre. I was still pushing down when I guess he was already off, so he just was like, suicide.
Suicide is painless.
It's not painless. Well, boys and girls.
Well, it depends.
Wow.
I mean, it depends on your thoroughness. But it's like they go into how he chose people because, of course, as a professional musician, you know the people in the industry. So
I appreciate, I suppose, the niche kind of I get to, as a musician, I get to appreciate those people.
Yeah, scientists
uniquely.
know the scientists that publish other journals in their stuff.
Yeah.
Because they're in the same field.
I think the thing that bothers me is there are people, there's so many.
Big and it's in my way.
Wow. Imagine the burden of carrying this around all day.
Don't imagine. Don't panic.
But the idea of some session musicians, I feel like, being so
besides Toto
appreciated for their
Toto got famous.
Well, like we were talking about it tonight, even like the idea that Van Halen was
he wasn't a
guitar.
session musician.
No, but I'm saying he was the guitar player on Beat It. You go, how many people actually know that? Like that's not
Michael Jackson fans and Eddie Van Halen fans, I guess.
But I'm saying so. Imagine if you're not Eddie Van Halen, you don't have the fame outside
the
of
question
that
I don't
one
know
thing.
for certain. I know he was.
So
I don't know
then
if he
Michael
did it
Jackson
in the studio,
becomes famous,
or maybe he just wrote it. He may have just written it and then had to have someone else play it.
Well, I'm just saying.
I don't know. How
imagine
it works,
if you were that session musician, and you go, I've played the thing, and everybody goes, "That's a kick awesome." You know,
Michael Jackson,
like a guitar shred. But
his actual touring guitarist was famous. The chick, girl with white hair. I mean, again, she's known for being Michael Jackson's touring guitarist. Kind of like how Sugarfoot, his drummer, is famous because he was Michael Jackson's touring drummer. I mean, obviously they were the touring. They were tours.
Just find
touring. What do you call them? Tour musicians? Because a session musician is in a studio. Is a touring musician
gigging musicians?
Maybe because I think they're the same people, aren't they? Usually. Maybe not.
Because some of them, I mean, session musicians. Some of them literally say, "I just want to be in my local area. Like I don't want to leave."
Discombobulate. Seriously, this guy can take 12 12 blasts from this gun that will... Darn it, I thought it had already gone off. Mercy killing, sort of.
He's not dead!
The problem is, I forget that we do have the pack of creatine, so eat your creatine. Because that'll give us the energy to hopefully take them all out.
Good life lesson. Eat your creatine. Eat your creatine, you little...
I mean, you should probably eat just regular protein.
Jim Rat!
Because, creatine I don't think it'll do you any good unless you're like The Rock. It's one of those things where it's only going to be useful to you unless you're actually eating and doing the amount of work.
Creatine, to me, and maybe I'm wrong... It's not a roid thing. It's not roid adjacent. It's the equivalent of SpongeBob putting on those fake rubber arms.
No, that would be steroids. Because it's essentially like a nutrient. Creatine. It's basically like a protein powder on steroids.
All I know is that when my brother used creatine while we were working out, and then he stopped working out. The minute he stopped working out, his muscles disappeared, and I could stop working out for a week, and my muscles would stay. So I'm like,
well, because I was going to say, obviously, the point of it is you do. That's what was my point. Is you do actually have to be doing the work to make it
like literally
useful to you.
I feel like it. What it does is it essentially.
Does it just add to the bulk and not
it adds to the bulk,
to the pump rather, not the actual...
Right. Like, it doesn't actually stick.
Well, I don't know. I would just say eat proper protein from healthy, normal sources. No, that was it.
Is it?
Yeah, just jump down one. So, as to your point, I mean, I think it's like saying roadies should be more famous. It's like they are. And that's what's weird is roadies are famous to touring musicians. Okay,
so what are you... I'm needing to eat... Creatine.
Yeah, it's in your fanny pack.
Oh.
The pause button. Or you could probably do it from that's the pause button. You got to get the menu pause button. It's in one of these. It should be obvious. Find the
Cyber
creatine.
Boost.
I said Cyber Boost. It seems like that would be the opposite of what we want in this context. Yes, equip it to your stomach slot.
I want to do that. Can I...
There you go. So that should give us all of our energy, and then we could knock these three guys out. But I would still recommend using the flashbang.
The flash slinging slasher. So what am I doing as far as...
So go to... Hold Y, because that's the quick select. So select the grenade, the yellow one, because that's the actual flasher. And then flash those guys. That would be a funny thing to do as the augmentation.
Oh.
the flash grenade
Can I-
gonad set. You could just pull the trench coat joke, but then it does actually like.
That's a very SAS style to me. Like,
no, I was gonna say that seems like something that would have been a Naked Gun, but. Well, okay, this is one way.
I
told you to use the grenade.
I thought I was that.
No,
because it's the upper bump button, right?
Yes, and you hit the trigger button that shoots the gun.
And then I tried to hit the bump and it went no.
Well, I guess you did it wrong. Because I don't know.
Here's my reasoning, and you're right in that I appreciate that good musicians, or musicians, I suppose, of a particular type, are going to appreciate given musicians in that field. I think the thing that bothers me is that there are... Maybe this is more of a modern problem than it was in the past, but there are singers that, without the backbone of their touring and, more importantly, their session musicians, they would be nothing, essentially. Because their singing is okay. I mean, it's not like it's bad, but it's not anything to write home about. And then you go, makes
music is always going to be... again, the Gestalt thing. I wish there was a better word for
I agree.
that.
No, that's a good word for it.
I like that it means what I want it to mean. It just never it doesn't sound like it would mean what I want it to mean. Like if you said someone, it's Gestalt, they'd be like, what? Unless they know the meaning of the word. It doesn't sound... Some words sound like what they mean.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's a good ontological question is, do they because they mean that? Or do they not?
I think, though, that the sentiment for me is that if those people are equally a part of creating that secret sauce, then they ought to have some degree of recognition. In the same way you look at, bands that we knew...
Yeah, I didn't think that...
over time, like, say, the 80s, let's just... Because that's a great place to land. You have...
I wanted to get both of them.
Tom
I did.
Schultz, who's the one.
I don't know who that is.
That's the lead electric guitar player for Boston. And you
go, you're
literally
more of a fan of them than I am.
Well, and he literally was an electrical engineer, made his own guitar pedals, and for his own band, which then gave them a very unique sound, and never
he
sold
made them
them
for everybody.
Yeah, and then literally never sold them. He was like, no, this is for our sound, and this is what
it's kind of like Brian May.
Right, exactly, same type of thing. But you go, those guys are famous, even though Freddie Mercury, equally a very gifted.
Yeah, but they're the
person,
band, though.
But
that's a different. Like everyone knows Brian May.
Though.
As opposed to session musicians who only record, they don't. I think. Well, and it also depends on. Queen was a band of multiple people, so if you liked Queen, you liked the people.
Yeah.
Like maybe if you were just an average, like you knew about them.
But I mean, like, okay, so
Mercury,
take Billy Joel. I think
he was the star, and he has a band.
That's a fair thing
because he wrote all of his songs.
The stuff. He literally could arguably have created in the session.
And some of his songs are just him. That's why I like a lot of his early work, is because it is basically just him.
Mm-hmm. But I think you take somebody like, what's a good example?
Billie Eilish.
No, I'm not thinking modern. I'm thinking more like historical.
You should defend your waifu. Oh,
my wife!
I just got him in the head while he was invisible.
Strong.
Well, you're awfully passionate about your defense.
That I liked her.
You said she's better than Halsey, which I said her tone. Say no to.
I said her tone is better than Halsey. I did not suggest ever that her music was.
You're conceding that now, then, because you did not concede that earlier.
Well, okay, then I'm conceding it now.
See, this guy sucks. Like that should have killed him, and he isn't dead. And I'm gonna have to. He
probably thinks that about you and how many times he's capped you in the face.
He hasn't, though. I mean, this box is awfully sturdy to be able to. That's what he's really thinking. He's going, "Dang, box! It's made of wood. How is it? What? One at a time, please. Pick a ticket. I'll be with you in a moment." He's backing away. Well, okay, bye then. Oh, now he's coming.
So I think
get towards him, Adam.
He's gonna come around.
Round, round, he comes around.
But take somebody like Well, if you want to go modern, let's take somebody.
I was mostly just giving you grief. So
well, you can still give me grief on this one because this
John Mayer.
Exactly. But it's a good example because he played with Dead and Company, arguably one of the best seasons of his career.
I don't know who
most
that is.
people, Dead and Company is a band that he toured with and played with.
Well, that would be what you just said, yes.
But I'm saying he
played for this band. I don't know who they are. Well, they're the band he played with.
But I'm saying most people would argue that was like one of the best seasons of his career. Now, even fans would. I think it's not that he's not got good stuff now, but that there was a secret sauce in that was
eyeliner.
Like these people.
Oh, he's got the shades.
You thought it was eyeliner?
Well, I mean, from here he looked like he was.
It does look like that. But the bottom line is,
where's the corpses?
Alone, I don't know that John Mayer would be as prolific as he is. You know what I mean? Like, he's not a Billy Joel.
Well, certainly. I mean, evidently so.
And yeah, but I'm just saying.
Time will tell and has told. Who's you?
But that's why I say session musicians ought to at least have some degree of, like, maybe even if the artist said, like, or at least like mentioned them on the.
Well, Billy Joel does that.
But see,
he did that live,
right? And that's what I'm saying. It's like at one point, like when we went to see him in concert, actually, that one time, I'm pretty sure he actually gave a shout out to his electric guitar player that night because he was killer. Like,
whoop. All right, so we've finally made progress on those guys. We tend to do this. So it seems to be a diminishing returns thing because we'll play a bunch of sessions at once, and then we'll like butt up against a wall of just not making progress, and then we'll come back next time and like breeze through it. I think it's just a matter of me editing. I have like subconsciously internalized like all of our failures at once. So now I'm like, it's like the Doctor Strange. It's like I see the way to do it.
There's only one way.
So all of those auxiliary nipples, I guess, are where the ball bearings come out when we do the big exploding attack.
You want to know which one of them you should toggle? You should toggle in order to get. Well,
clearly not the one with the bandage. That one needs. That one's recalibrated. Hello.
How are you?
There's a lot of you. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're friendly. They have guns though. That doesn't seem likely.
Like Hitler. All I'm saying with that is I think that they certainly. I suppose I wish that more people knew
double takedown
about session musicians and why they're a key.
Do you wish that all people or just musicians? Because only musicians are going to care. Behind me.
There is a lion's share of musicians that don't know, though. Like, they don't care.
Are there?
And at that point, I suppose it's more a reflection
because,
on them
like, I
and
could
their
name
own
for
capability.
you. I could name for you the members of Queen because I like Queen, but I couldn't do that with like AC/DC. It's like I know Bon Scott / Brian Johnson. And the brothers,
not
the
Slash.
Youngs.
You inadvertently included Slash in AC/DC.
No, I didn't.
You said Slash. I was just.
Well,
I know, I was joking.
You know what I meant. Okay, I'm being double teamed. I did know what you meant. Double teaming.
I was intentionally being cantankerous.
Bad time. Very bad. But I was going to say, and it's the Youngs, Angus, and the other one, Malcolm. Okay, so I guess I do know most of AC/DC. I don't know the bass player, though, but isn't that always the case?
Yeah, I was about to say, it's always the just bassist.
Usually.
But,
What? Okay, well, that passed through his brain to the other side.
I think it came back, a boomerang back around to you.
Shot myself in the head through you. So I guess it's
how Kennedy died, don't you know?
I guess you're asking that everyone would care as much about your favorite musicians as you do, which is, I think I've just realized those aren't part of his weapons. That's to blend in with the studs on the couch.
It's camouflage. It's urban camouflage.
It's a questionable form of urban camouflage. My couch has weird rivets in it, so I guess my chest needs them too. Because because I will only ever sit in that one position.
These are just my prosthetic arms just laying here on the couch.
I'm not actually wearing them currently.
I'm not actually wearing them currently. No, I think that it's... I suppose you're right. It's not necessarily a bad thing that that's the case. It's just more a matter of I just find it unique that there are so many people that literally are sometimes unnamed. I think purely session musicians. That's what intrigues me.
In a way, I think that is genuinely... I made the joke, but I think it's true. That's what they're getting paid for. They are getting paid to not be famous for their work.
True. Is it B, right?
Yes. Well, okay, I was going to say, you want to do it quick. Whoa, quick time in a... This one's elaborate. I just... Whenever I play stuff on my TV and then I come back here, I'm like... sad. Because this is just far better. Now you'll get double teamed in this way, so I'd say you want to move forward before you open fire on these two guys.
Can I?
No, I'd go with the rifle or the pistol right now. Pistol, not that. That's got... I'd go with the rifle because we got more ammo for it. Or the shotgun if you want to be that way.
Wow. I think I'm
in a shoddy mood. Shoddy's gonna blow your face off your head. This is why, because shotguns aren't great at range.
Did I not switch? Dadgummit.
No, you didn't. Whoop! See, you're getting double teamed. I warned you. So,
anywho,
I think I can understand perhaps if you probably similar you have a similar. Not sure what the. You wish people would take things as seriously as you take them.
Yeah, but I think
so. You're like, you should know these things about it because they're valuable to know. But it's like not everyone's going to value. They probably have stuff about their things that they think you should know.
I suppose the
maybe they don't though. Some people genuinely are just coasters in life, and that does it does kind of make me sad.
Coasters, not just in that they coast, but also that they're just kind of laying there on a table.
Yeah, they're good for putting drinks on.
That's a really good insult, you coaster. But I think that it's true though also that how far do you take that line, because there's producers and mixers and things like that.
Well, I can assure you the producers are the ones who's going to know every session musician.
No, but I'm saying even like those people are unsung as well, typically.
They deserve it though.
No, but I'm just saying like
the music industry is toxic enough.
I'm talking about the engineers more than anything.
Oh, well, those aren't the producers.
But I'm saying like there are going to be people down the line that don't get talked about, and that's just kind of how that goes, I suppose, because certain people just get paid and that's it.
That's capitalism for you. Aww.
Well, it's kind of like in a company, you have people that are going to be kind of the face of the company versus the people that's like, go back there and stack the boxes.
Yeah.
Anybody that's
this is just
in backstock, I apologize. It's your face. Wow. That's terrible.
All the 7s and above go to the retail desk. You're below a 6, you can't leave the back.
Sometimes it's an IQ question, though. Like,
in which case, which would go where? Because I'd rather have the high IQ people in the back, because that's where stuff actually happens. You just need to be dumb and friendly out front. That's my opinion of retail workers.
Most people that are dumb aren't friendly, though.
All right, no. Sometimes the dumb ones are the most friendly because they just don't know.
I don't know.
This is social engineering.
So, kind of a brief tangent, just because you didn't know this already.
Okay.
But
how do you know?
the whole Tom Schultz thing, the fact that he.
Oh yes, whoever that is.
I actually.
It's the same one.
I really, when I started looking up. Okay,
you started looking up. Oh, well, you're not looking up very much.
When I started looking up, Boston and kind of what their process was, I was fascinated because he is a brilliant engineer. Like, so he designed, and if you've listened to Boston at all, literally at all, you know that one of their biggest kind of keystones to their sound is this long kind of traily guitar,
well, the
but
huge
it doesn't
sustain that lasts
right, but
year.
it doesn't. It's not a freeze though. Like if there's a freeze pedal now that people do that with, but it doesn't.
That wouldn't have been around in the 70s.
But it doesn't give the same effect.
Well, I swear their guitars were just made out of granite or something like that.
No, it wasn't that. He engineered basically a cyclical, almost like loop, where when you played a chord, the switch was something where you held it down as long as you wanted to hold the note, and then you could play notes on top of it that didn't actually then get hung up. Like a sustain pedal just sustains anything, but it only would sustain what you actually played in that initial, pattern that you were doing when you held it down. And so I was fascinated because he said this particular thing, I can't remember what he called it, the space something or other. I'll have to show you the video, but he literally said nobody has it, and he said, and people have asked me for it. Like after Boston kind of stopped doing their thing, people were like, "Oh, you should make that and actually design a pedal." And he's like, "I don't want to."
Well, well, that seems. Why not after you're done with it?
Well, because then everybody has the Boston sound, and that's kind of a cool
I suppose
thing
you got a point there, but...
And so it made me fascinated because Boston wasn't just using their skill set on a musician level and on a kind of musicality. It was I'm literally bringing all that I have knowledge-wise to bear on this equation and really allowing it to be a very unique blend of things, and I really appreciated that. So anyway, shout out to Tom Schultz for those of you guys that don't know. He's great.
Boston 70s music is a hit and miss for me. 70s rock, I feel like... Are you
not a fan of Boston as a whole, or are you just...
I like some of their songs, but that by definition, I suppose, is not what I would consider a fan.
No, that's... yeah.
But... I don't know. I think 70s rock is just 80s rock -1.
Minus what?
Minus one, as in literally like it is what 80s rock was. It's just slightly less than because it was before
minus
it, and
one
it didn't.
Point. I got you.
And it didn't.
Well, but arguably it was
because I think obviously like Billy Joel and those guys were around in the 70s, and I like them because because
he adapted.
Individual people, I think. I like, but I feel like rock bands specifically in the 70s, I'm just like, you haven't quite got there yet. Like even AC/DC, that was when they had Bon Scott, and I'm just like, I don't love early AC/DC. I'm much more of the Brian Johnson AC/DC fan.
Sure.
I don't think it's just Brian Johnson. I think it's just their style developed because they became more... I feel like the 70s is sort of the transition period from when it went to sort of the rockabilly kind of vibe to the true rock and roll.
That's a fair assessment, although Elvis Presley certainly was still in the rockabilly era.
Well, obviously, he was earlier than the 70s.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. It's clearly started ahead of the 70s. That's
what I'm saying. I'm saying the rockabilly was in like the 50s when rock
right
was sort of
rock
beginning.
And roll, kind of, yeah.
But when it truly became like genuine rock and roll, it's like I consider AC/DC to be like the quintessential rock and roll. Because like Journey and Van Halen, they skew
Van
metal-ish.
Halen, I could maybe see more in that category.
They skew towards the metal.
Journey, I could certainly agree.
Pop metal, glamour metal, I guess you'd call it.
Metal, yeah.
But metal-ish. Whereas I think AC/DC, like they never had a keyboard player. They were just straight rock and roll.
Well,
the old
Boston
school way.
Didn't specifically.
Yeah, they were just
keys.
Earlier, and therefore. I don't know. I think rock really came into its own in the 80s.
That I certainly agree with you.
I think in the 70s. But see, then the other trouble I have is like Electric Light Orchestra. They were 70s. And I've made the comment that they were what the Beatles wanted to be.
And that's my controversial opinion. You know what? In listening to it, I don't disagree with you. I think that the reality is they...
Wait, hang on.
I believe
the
Beatles were brilliant writers... And musically, well, maybe not musically, theory-wise, they were brilliant. Music theory-wise, they were brilliant.
I don't think I wanted to leave.
I don't think their execution was ever good. As good. And then you do listen to ELO and you go, okay, this is definitely got
I don't think I wanted
a different
to do
level
this.
of...
I think I wanted to stay down here, but I don't know why the map seemed to be telling me otherwise.
So, no, that I actually don't think I disagree with that opinion.
Well,
much.
some people would.
Well,
I admit that I am amongst the Beatles were overrated crowd.
I don't know that they were overrated. I just certainly don't know that they...
think they were.
I don't know.
You've tried to convince me, and I mean, I'm not convinced. I can respect them for what they were. I do just feel like they were more of a symptom of their age than of their own genuine quality. And again, this is going to anger many people. And I mean, it's the other thing, and this sort of becomes a nuisance point because it's one of those things you can't actually disagree with because it's almost unprovable. But people who say like if you think you don't like the Beatles, but you like everyone that came after them, then you secretly like the Beatles.
No, I don't.
Because even Billy Joel would say like, "Oh, I was influenced by the Beatles."
No,
and
but
like,
see, you can't say that.
Sometimes you can guess. Sometimes I can hear it, especially in certain albums when he's definitely leaning into that.
Yeah, but
even then, I'm like, he does it better.
The Beatles. Yeah, that's exactly it. If somebody comes and improves your process, you can't say.
But see, then everyone goes, "But they would never have done that had they not gone first." And I'm like, "Well, maybe."
But
I suppose then we all really are secretly fans of B.B. King in that case.
Hey, B.B. King was great.
I only know the one song, just like everybody else only knows the one song. You name me another song.
I think he was...
Yeah, he deserves the credit for being the sort of origin, but do you know anything else he did?
I don't know that I could name anything specific, but I do know that on a blues level, I've followed him more closely than I think most.
Well, he was the proto-rock guy.
Yeah, but I mean, kind of bluesy
Johnny B. Good's
jazz.
not blues at all. Johnny B. Good is like is sort of the first rock song.
Maybe.
Again, more in the rockabilly kind of vein.
B.B. King definitely had some jazzy.
Maybe he did.
Stuff.
Again, I don't know any of his other stuff. That's my point. So, if you're gonna say that the person who did it first gets all the credit for everyone that came after them,
no,
it's like,
that
I don't
certainly
agree.
disagree with that sentiment. What am I?
I don't know because the map tells us to leave here and go up to the streets, but then once we get up to the streets, it's telling us to go back into this building.
Is it?
So that's where we need to be. I guess.
This?
Yeah. Which is where we were when we were shooting guys up.
Is this the entrance?
Well, no, that's the entrance because we're technically still outside. I mean, we just got into the sewers. We need to go back in there.
So can I come up through the toilets?
No, we came down through the toilets. We can go back in through the toilets.
Okay,
so just
why
go
don't
sneak back in.
Well,
or, I mean, you could just get yourself killed and we'll probably start back. I think there's probably been an autosave because I just died, so never mind.
That's the question is where...
You have to get us back in.
Okay.
Into the poo.
I don't know if you guys can.
I don't think the mic's picking that up, but it's very distracting.
It's very distracting.
There's a couple moles on the wall that are trying to sign at us. Not sign, Morse code.
Whoop. Oh,
well,
in the noodle. Noodle. In the noodle.
Well, his friend's his friend's asking for noodles too. I heard you got good noodles. Wow, you had one serving of noodles. That was it.
Was that a
Sorry,
Matrix?
we closed today. No soup for you.
You've been here for an hour. It's all you can eat, but not forever. Was that a Matrix quote you just made?
What? Noodles?
Yeah, they got really good noodles.
I was just making crap up. What?
That's a Matrix quote.
No, I said because you said noodles, and I went, oh, you got him in the noodle, and I said his friend's gonna want some noodles.
It's right when he goes back into the real world after having been pulled out and realized it was all fake or whatever, and he literally goes, he's looking around and it's kind of surreal, and he goes, I used to eat there, really good noodles.
I don't remember that movie well. I only saw it once. They say. I don't know if I should watch the full series because a lot of people say that it's a bit of the first one was good and the rest kind of are like they descend.
I certainly think that there is a descent. It is a consistent decline, certainly. I don't know that the second movie's terrible. I like it. The third movie's not good.
I like it.
It's not that good.
But then I also hear people say that the Animatrix film
that
is
one
like
was
crazy
weird.
good.
It was weird. I don't remember.
I've seen
everything
clips of it,
about
and I'm
it.
like, it certainly does seem weird, but I mean, in a Matrix way, that's like, okay,
Agreed.
I believe this. So we came out this door. This also means we could have come in this way and avoided all the guys we had to kill. But I mean, wrist exercise. Gotta get that recoil practice.
So,
You just abandoning whatever we were talking about.
well, I mean, we kind of
Talking about the Matrix. I thought you keep trying to get me to watch the rest of the Matrix. I guess I should. It's just that I saw the first one and I wasn't like, wow, because I mean, I didn't watch it in the 2000s when it would have been wow. Now it's kind of like,
it depends on whether that is
quaint.
your style of movie, because I think there was,
it's
specifically in the 90s,
it's very genre
kind of,
defining. I mean, I can recognize that it set a trend
but that
a
whole
long time.
sci-fi sentiment of like, especially fighting movies that have a sci-fi base.
I wish I could zoom out.
I don't know what else that would apply to
zoom in,
outside
but I
of
wanna
the
go
two
out.
obvious ones I've mentioned before, which is the Matrix and the Equilibrium. I'm trying to think of another one that would be sci-fi, but also
those don't quite seem like they belong in the same category.
Oh, they do.
Because
it's
Matrix
kind of got a
is-
same dystopian vibe.
Yeah, but Equilibrium, from what I know of it, doesn't sound sci-fi. It sounds
it's sci-fi-ish.
I mean, not unless you would also count like Hunger Games as sci-fi.
No.
And it's like, yes, there might be fictional
is it sci-fi,
science,
though? I mean,
but is sci-fi just fictional science, or is it? Because I mean, it's not just does it contain fictional science, because pretty much every film does.
Would you classify Matrix as sci-fi then?
Well, yes, because the whole point of it is the future of technology, and it's about the technology. Like, the Matrix is a technical thing, and that's what the film is about.
I suppose.
Like, if it's... Because, I mean, pretty much anything then that claimed... film...
That claims to
Would
be
you
in the
call the
future.
Avengers sci-fi? Because certainly none of that technology exists.
No.
But the point is, that's not what the film's about.
No, I agree.
It's more of what's the focus of the film. Like, The Matrix is literally about the Matrix. Therefore,
Well, then the
it must
question
be-
is, what is maybe I need
what
to
is
define-
Equilibrium about? It's more of a sort of societal thing.
Yeah,
sociological. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is.
That
should kill you.
Arguably, it's a sociological thriller rather than a psychological thriller. Maybe.
I don't know that there's enough of a distinction. Is there really? Could
Well,
you think of another film to go into that genre?
No, maybe not. But I'm just saying the question is
Okay, I'm in a
basically
bad
what
way.
happens when humans. Maybe there's a few. Like the I Am Legend would go into that category probably.
But that was zombies, wasn't it?
It was not zombies. They all got.
I thought it was a zombie movie.
It was Sif, man. No, I'm just kidding. They all
Sif?
got syphilis. I was joking.
Oh, I was like Sith. I was like, what did the Sith have to do?
No, what was that?
Well, because I'm trying to avoid Big Boom McGee, but he's in my way now. I'm trying to get his buddies one by one. Come on, trial and error here, pal. There you go. He's not dead.
They all had rabies.
Oh, is that seriously all it was?
Well, I mean, they became.
Or was it like
they became
super ultra mega
Yeah,
rabies?
it was mega rabies that turned them essentially into zombies. It was like
I
kind
see.
of.
I
They
haven't
became,
seen that either.
You haven't seen I Am Legend?
My gap.
What?
The film gap I have is, of course, when I was a child.
Yeah, but I Am Legend is
Because I mean,
good.
adult movies when I was a child. Because obviously, when I was a kid, I was watching kid movies that came out in that era, and then we watched older movies because they had already come out.
I Am Legend is worth
But I
the
didn't
watch.
see the movies that came out when I was a kid that were meant for adults because I wouldn't have seen them.
I think I Am Legend is worth the
Well,
watch.
I mean, it's
But it would
well
certainly
known for a reason.
certainly fall into that category to me. As far
more
as
of a psychological thriller than a sci-fi.
Yeah, I don't know about the Matrix and other.
It has to be sci-fi because it basically started.
I agree,
the
but then what
cyberpunk
else?
Genre.
Then it begs the question:
maybe
what
not.
actually
Video games
does
actually got there
fall
first.
into the sci-fi category? Because
Well, it has to be about. It's not just that it contains
Well, I'm
fictional
saying more
science, but it has to be specifically about fictional science, and usually it's science as a means of exploring the human condition.
sure, and that's a
Like Frankenstein technically is sci-fi. I don't love that.
That's a good metric, but that doesn't what actually falls into that is what
Well, anything that does that. I mean, it's a broad camp. I agree, but
I'm asking you to grab me that paintbrush that you're using.
I'm asking you to grab me.
I'm asking you to grab that paintbrush you're using and actually draw me a movie.
Well, you just want recommendations then? I thought you were saying what. I thought you wanted a categorical what belongs in it in general.
See, you're giving
a lot of things it depends on the era too, because
Maniac
Tron,
Tron
is of a very old school.
I suppose that's
true. Or there's
true.
Event Horizon or the sort of 70s sci-fi, which was a lot more.
Event Horizon. I don't know if I know.
Yes, Event Horizon. I was about to say Jacob's Ladder, not that.
Am I going the right way?
Silent Running. No. Turrets. I think we were on the right level. You have to go the way I was going, which is through the maze of bad.
Well, but the maze of bad.
Because when you're on the same level as the thing you need to go to, it's an X. When you're not on the level, it turns into a triangle or something. Which is a clever enough way of doing it, but is giving examples more helpful than the broad strokes? Because I feel like you gotta anything that uses the medium of sort of the exploration of science as a means of communicating human nature. It's okay. I watched it slide into frame. So, and it depends on the era, because the 70s stuff was awfully.
What would you call
new agey? It's in that category, but although it's a sci-fi horror film specifically, it plants its flag firmly in one corner of the sci-fi thing. A lot of 80s, 70s, 80s stuff was very existential. From what I understand of Silent Running and Event Horizon, is that they're it was of a sort of 70s new age existentialist kind of idea.
Why do you think that is culturally?
Because that was what the culture was.
But I'm saying, so then by comparison, what are we?
Cyberpunk. We're still in the cyberpunk age. Matrix. That's why I have to. Matrix is, as in the digital sort of revolution and the lack of humanity thereof.
Well, but that also produced crap like iRobot.
That doesn't. I'm not saying that everything produced in that genre is good, but that is the genre.
Have you seen that trash?
I have seen video essays that attempt to defend it, and I'm like, maybe
it's not good. I'm sorry.
I love how that wasn't even an attempt at persuasion. It was just I'm just going to state my opinion.
No, it's so bad. I don't even need to defend my opinion.
Because the clips I have seen of it
defends it itself.
Because I understand the reason why people say it's bad, specifically because of the fact that it's such a loose adaptation of what it should have been.
Right.
And I can respect that, but I mean, there's clips of it that I still think. Maybe it's just that because I haven't sat through the slodge of it, I get the nuggets of oh, that's a good line. Because
the lines are one thing, but it was not one of Will Smith's best roles. That's all I will tell you.
Really? Because he's always just Will Smith. Isn't he equally Will Smithy in this? Because he seems awfully.
No, he's a bit not though. He's very flat in this.
So do we learn that Will Smith can't be not Will Smith? Is he the new Michael Caine? That's a sad statement.
All those push-ups and you can't even lift a bloody.
That's probably his best role, to be perfectly honest.
Well, that's true.
That might be rude. I know he did a lot of things back in his day.
Shout out to the person who played Alfred in the Gotham series. That was literally the only thing that made that show for me.
No, we agreed. Jim is great in season 1. Season Jim. Season 1 is great, and Jim is the glue that holds it all together.
Well, that's true.
Season 2 just took a nosedive.
Yeah, including Jim, though, I feel like, too.
Yeah, but I felt like he was going to break his back if he tried to carry the rest of the show.
Well, Alfred was trying to help him, but...
Well, okay, so they would have both broken their backs. It was something.
Anyway, you should see it.
So I would say we're still in that
Don't see iRobot, but...
I feel like I should, if only as a
well,
film
then let
critical...
me be there, please, to let you...
Because here's the thing.
It'll be...
maybe this wasn't as big of a part of the film as it seems to me. We came through there! The line that still sticks out to me, and maybe it was like a minor point, but I've seen it spread around a lot online, is can a robot write a symphony? Can a robot do all these things? And then the robot just answers, can you? Because I'm like, that is the sickest, most horrifying burn Because it's like, he's not wrong. And you just go, okay. If a robot said that to you, you'd be like, oh, I don't know what, I can't answer that. Because that's sort of, again, it's a bit of like a hollow platitude. It's like, yeah, okay, some humans can do this.
Yeah, but
not all of them.
I feel like
so to claim that you all get that.
From the same fate that Age of Ultron did, which is that
the robots in that did not seem very human. Or the robot. Is it more than one?
It's not that it's very human.
Because the Age of Ultron, we had the issue with it was that it was too human for a robot.
Versus...
At least this was a long time ago now, this conversation. The idea that it didn't have... What makes AI specifically scary is the total lack of human understanding. Like
is it understanding or is it morality we're looking for?
No, it's understanding. It's like, because obviously robots can't comprehend morality. Of course, they can, except when they're programmed with certain subsets, but then that's not really morality.
Well, then, case in point, there's the whole, what's the show that we were watching, where she has the moral robot or whatever that literally can't.
Oh, that's another topic, because I want to hear your opinions on that, but we might save that for when we have some more time. But robots are scary because they have no, soul, I guess. That feels too vague and too broad, but it's like something that is just going to kill you because of the fact that it's following an algorithm and it doesn't even know the weight of what it's doing. It just knows that it's supposed to do it. There's something frightening about that. Versus, like, he gets mad at people and attacks them out of, like, some sense of...
You're talking about
Ultron. It's like he actually attacks for a sense of, like, indignation. It's like,
sure.
Yes, there's obviously that's a villainous thing and it's still scary, but there's something scary about something that can kill you without even knowing what it's doing and why.
My point, what I was getting at, was the notion of comparison, from humans and AI. In the iRobot in the Age of Ultron sense, because that a similar thing happened in Age of Ultron, where basically Ultron made the same argument, which is you're not doing anything with your life either.
That's basically the classic. I don't know where that first appeared as a trope.
I
don't know where a trope first appeared of the idea that if AI got access to, not specifically the internet, because that's a more modern trope, but I guess, is Terminator the first to ever do it? The idea that if an AI was in charge of protecting humanity, it would potentially draw the sensible conclusion that the greatest threat to humanity is itself. I don't know if the Terminator, I would have to guess, even if it wasn't the first to do it, was certainly the most famous to do it.
Sure.
The idea that we said, hey, protect humans, and it went, well, the only way to protect you is to basically annihilate you, because you're going to annihilate yourselves.
Right.
So, I mean, it's that's been around a long time, and is that not what iRobot is? Or is that basically the same conclusion, that it's like, you can't be trusted, so I just am going to wipe you out? Because again, the reason that's scary is because of the fact that it's a plausible conclusion. Again, it's got the bit of the Thanos thing where it's like, okay, it's not wrong, strictly, logically speaking, but it's, of course, what's the word I used? I used the same word last time because I think it's a good...
I dropped him.
I can't think of it.
Did you see that shot?
Well, make another one. You need your second helping of noodles. You are a one noodle show.
Most guys can only do one noodle.
Sometimes you only need one noodle. It's not about. It's about how you use it.
3 noodles. I've put more noodles in your brain than.
I've given you some parasites. Is what I've done.
Okay, take your.
You're shooting him
noodle.
In the jugular.
I don't understand.
The iron jug.
The iron noodle.
Have the iron neck augment. The word is escaping me, but it's essentially Thanos is not wrong because he's logically wrong. It's because he's the incommensurate is a word that means the same thing, but it's not the word I was looking for.
Okay, I didn't mean to do that.
Oh, I thought there was some glitch because the mirage of the guys.
It poked around.
Well, they'll do that. The guy, the mirage.
You go put noodles in people's brains.
That's no. So yeah, that's what makes an AI scary, is because that is a logically consistent,
but then
extreme
is it
solution.
Logic we're scared of? Because arguably,
logic without humanity. I think there's reasons. There's plenty of stories that don't involve AI that are about that.
Because again, what it is when
human temperament, I guess, to counter cold rationalism.
Well, but cold rationalism at times is necessary.
Yes, but it can also lead you into extremes that are incommensurate. That's not the word. Out of balance is there's another word that means that's less academic. But it's like there's been stories about that forever. That's, you need to be in the right balance of both. You can't just rely purely on a cold rationalism, because that'll lead you into dark areas. But you need some amount of it because you don't want to be useless and stupid.
Well, but that kind of becomes a bit of a Unitarianism, isn't it?
Well, but what, do you mean this in a religious context? What does that mean?
No, because the whole idea of you're out for the common good is the converse of the... Or the common good for the most amount of people is the converse of cold rationalism, which says sometimes you...
No. They're not opposed at all.
I'm not saying they're opposed. I'm saying, converse, I suppose. Maybe I should say it in that it is the
because rationalism can lead you to the right thing,
right? But so can the most amount of good for the most amount of people.
Sure, but my point is rationalism could potentially
the other
lead
weight
you to
the
that.
other side of the scale, I suppose.
But I don't think they're the opposite sides of the scale. Oh, hello.
Well, but they work together. In other words, is my point. It's not like they
do we have this high of a hacking
They're
score?
at odds. They're just different.
Well, we do have this high of a hacking
counterbalance.
Score.
Maybe that's a better. It counterbalances, counteracts, or counterbalances the other.
Oh boy.
That is a very loud gutter.
Isn't that what that is? I thought that was the water heater.
No, it's the gutter.
Come on. This actually worked out very well. Come on. There we go. There looks like some kind of a weapon upgrade in here. And a body bag. Delightful. And there's a body in here. What?
Machine God.
What? Well, we're into some new sci-fi topics here, fellas. Embrace the singularity. So we know what side of the AI fence they sit on. No, I want to... Why can't I take that with me? I would like that. I would say AI is scary because it doesn't have the human soul, for lack of a better term, or...
But why is that so...
Because cold rationalism can lead you to make... Again, it's a bit of a Thanos thing where you go, okay, is the solution you're proposing feasible? Obviously, yes. The question is it at all appropriate to the situation? Like, is that... Again, I think I made the analogy of it's like trying to kill a spider with a nuke. It's like, yeah, it'll work, but is that not totally out of proportion? Disproportionate! That was the word I was looking for.
Wow.
Because it was taking me a long time.
Disproportionatism.
It seems slightly less academic than incommensurate.
Well, it certainly is less academic, but it's also far more commonplace.
Well, yes, that's what I was going for. Reserved to a handgun, rifle, or firearm. I can use... Oh, it's just a damage upgrade. I probably should have looked at that. What are we using a lot of? I think we've already upgraded the damage on this once. I would do this if it doesn't already have it, because this is already popping people pretty well.
He's always popping people.
Mr. Popper's... something. I was going to think of
that sounds like a good slogan right there.
I was trying to think of some weapon term that all Mr. Popper's pistols or something. That sounds silly though. Alrighty, let's see. Whoa, okay, sketchy stuff happens here. Ew.
Shut up, nurse.
What does it actually say? It might say that one of these. Not this. It's like how doctors actually have to write "not this leg" when they're talking about amputations. It's like they literally have a little mark on it. Ew!
It's still dripping. This is fresh.
Why is it fresh? It shouldn't be fresh. There's no body. Maybe that's the body. Ew.
What to
Gross.
do? What to do? What do we do with the body?
What are we supposed to do with the bot?
Bottles of blood right here. Bottles of blood right here. Same thing. Put them in your.
Put them in your augments.
Put them in your bloodstream.
Whoa! I thought that was the thing that was coming to get me. Well, this is a gross room I don't want to be in. Except I'm going to pick up this.
This has got a bit of a BioShock feel.
A little bit. I'm not keen. Well,
not. Keen.
Oh, hi! Hello, lads. I'm just wandering through their blood supply. Hi! I didn't see that window there. Look at that. There's some thugs over there in that window there. Okay, pal. You're not being very sportsman-like.
Well,
so
there you go.
What would you say about?
Animal.
Well, no, we got. I like this topic. It's an interesting one. We don't get to talk about sci-fi much. Did we not? Do you not agree with the AI distinction? Because we had this conversation. I thought we sort of reached
the distinction of what between people and AI? Yes.
No, what makes an AI effective as an adversary in a sci-fi film, especially?
Well, I don't think
because I think you can make the very humanitarian. Again, it's exploring the human condition by the contrast of an AI being inhuman. That's what makes them sort of scary, and that's what highlights the human condition by contrast.
I'll say it this way: even when humans act robotic.
They can't fully.
No, but just let me tease this argument out a little bit. On a systems level, like take something very rigid like the military. Not a bad thing. Sometimes need the rigidity. Sometimes need the whatever. But you take that system and its rigidity to the extreme of. Arguably, at times, they'll get into a debate on, okay, am I just following orders blindly based on, this when I feel like another call should be made? Now, people that make those human calls and say, I'm going to do something different and this is how we're going to handle this, either end up, getting themselves into trouble because they made the wrong call.
Whoa!
Okay.
Why are these all dressed like they're about to form a rap group?
It's not rap. This is like, it's rap. It's a
Scrunge.
No, it's what's it called? It's
the Scrungle Lads.
It's Juggalo.
No,
they're juggalos.
No, they look like they're attempting to be rappers.
They're juggalos.
They ain't got the weird.
Juggalo rap is 100% this.
I'm sure there's a genre of that, but
there is, and I'm telling you, it's this.
Why do you know of it then?
Because of that guy right there.
He got the facial expressions of. Oh, it's this guy again. Tong. That's not his name. That's actually an epithet.
So I think even when humans act in a manner that is...
Well, it's also what makes psychopaths frightening is that they're on that...
Right.
They're towards that end of the...
But notice, the people that do make those human calls in real time and actually succeed are the types of people that end up winning Purple Hearts and get, medals and commendations because...
Well, it's like the guy who prevented World War III that no one knows about.
Because...
The Russian soldier who said, I'm not launching this missile. Right. Because he was literally ordered to, and it's like, okay, that would have been it.
Right.
Literally all he had to do was just do it, and that would have been the end of that.
Right. Well, and that's the what I'm getting at is that there is all of those gut level, this doesn't seem like the right choice in this situation, and therefore I'm going to make a different call based on intuition or spiritual moralism or whatever you'd like to say it is, the better good for the unified consciousness or whatever. I'm just saying
consciousness is a little much.
No, but the however you want to frame it, the reality is humans at times act on a gut check level to say, this is something that I need to.
But this is precisely my point: is that an AI won't have that.
Agreed,
and that's what makes them frightening.
That is the part that is frightening. But I think also, this is going to sound really weird, but if I were to be a AI sympathizer, I would say it makes sense why the AI would be concerned, because our gut check, they
can just as easily lead us astray.
Our desire to act on a gut check level can also be terribly detrimental.
Well, yeah, this is why I actually thought, because we're going back to, hi, can I have this? Oh, I can have this. It's huge.
Laser rifle.
I find that laser rifles are often the least interesting weapons in any game that has them. Because
really? I like them in Halo.
Because, only a few of the Covenant weapons are like, this is satisfying to use. A lot of times they just sort of
satisfying,
it
maybe
farts
not.
out a little puff cloud.
Farts out.
Some kind of neon puff cloud. And I'm like, well, that's not nearly as satisfying as literally something exploding in my hands.
Well, I'm not worried about satisfaction as much as I'm worried about efficacy.
Yeah, but I'm worried about satisfaction. Because I can't.
Well, now you know.
Because I can't get
Now
none.
we know you are a. What's the word I'm looking for?
A hedonist.
Yeah, I was about to say you're a hedonist.